What's up guys, welcome back to another Gwent video, and today we're going to be looking at the monster reveals for Thanedd Coup Price of Power. Now just before we start, if you guys haven't seen my Northern Realms, my Nilfgaard, my Squirtle, and my Skellige reveals, all the links will be in the description below. And also one more thing, so I'm recording this video on Friday night, so the Syndicate reveals, I expect them to happen in a Gwent developer update, alongside the new Journey reveal and alongside the patch notes that will come for 9.2. Keep in mind, guys, if we check quickly, that the current Journey for Triss is going to end soon, so I think we have 3 days, 14 hours left as of recording, so just make sure that you guys finish up all your challenges. Make sure you get to tier 100 at least. That way you don't miss out on any rewards. Without all that out of the way, let's just jump in. So, the Sabbath is in the full swing. Behold a very special guest joining the fun. And she brings presents too. So as usual, we're going to start off with the common cards for monsters. And the first one is a special organic card. Bleeding Effigy for Provisions. That is... that artwork is really cool because it actually is connected to the legendary card that has come out for monsters this time. So anyway, banish a bronze unit from your opponent's graveyard, then boost an allied unit by its power. If you control Bloody Mistress or Gernichora, you may target gold units. So, a bit of a spoiler here. This card spoils what the legendary card is. Yes, it is actually Bloody Mistress / Gernichora. She's in the game finally. Anyway, a drop of blood, a hair from the head, a fragment of a nail. So this card essentially is a special version of Squirrel that cannot target special cards. So the advantage of Squirrel over this card would be that Squirrel can banish echo cards like Oneiromancy, Amphibious Assault, stuff like that, right? Bleeding Effigy cannot do that, but Bleeding Effigy doesn't break Devotion for monsters, if that is important. This card seems to be very meta dependent. I think this card is fantastic against Skellige if Reckless Flurry is still meta, because obviously you can banish their Greatswords. Bear Witchers, you're typically going to get 8 or 10 value out of them pretty consistently against that faction. It's going to be good against monsters. Monsters typically play high base strength units, so Griffin, stuff like that, right? Now, if you control Bloody Mistress or Gernichora, which is this card over here, one of these two, you can target a gold card. In that case, you can also banish your monster's Igern, and then you boost it yourself. You can use it on She Who Knows. You can use it on, popular renew targets like Defender and Colgrim. The tempo is not much because Colgrim and Defender are both 1 point for Nilfgaard, but you prevent them from being renewed, right? So it's a really interesting tech option. Is it better than Squirrel? That's the question, right? I think if you're running this card, I just think Squirrel is better in almost every scenario because, Squirrel can also banish Greatswords. The only problem is that Squirrel is always playing as a tempo of 4. This actually gives you tempo of 10 against a Greatsword and stuff like that, right? So that's the biggest difference. Honestly, it's not a bad card. I think it's a solid 2.5 out of 5 stars, average card. I think it's a very nice deck option for monsters, and yeah. Like, what are some relevant goals you'd want to remove, right? That's the question. Like popular renew targets. I'm thinking of Clog, I'm thinking of Mill. Mill loves to renew Wilgeforts. You can banish their Wilgeforts and buff it. If maybe Old Spear Tip if you're playing against a monsters deck that's playing Thrive. Who knows? What else is there? Let's just jump to 9 provisions, see what would be popular renew targets, right? Tibor is actually a pretty good one. If Mill is still very popular, then Tibor is a fantastic target for this. Defender is pretty good against Skellige because they can renew it, obviously. Or even Sigdriff is right? So, honestly, it's actually a pretty good, decent card. Solid 2.5 out of 5, I think. Again, very meta dependent because against Scoia'tael, I think this card is almost useless. Scoia'tael doesn't really have the tallest units and they don't really resurrect stuff. They mainly replay special cards, right? So yeah, not bad at all. Alright, rare card, Self-Eater. This card art is disturbing, man. Holy shit, this guy is eating his toes. Look at this, nom 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 nom. Alright, 6 for 6, Relict. Order. Halve this unit's base power, then spawn a copy with the same base power on this row. Whenever you play a relic, increase this unit's base power by 1. This card is really good. This card is Monster's self-replicating card, so similar to Kikimor Warriors, similar to your Revenants for Northern Realms, similar to your Whisperer of Dolpathana for Scoia'tael. This is another one of those cards, right? Ethereal, similar to that. In this case here, you drop it as a 6 for 6. And then the next turn, when you can use the order, first of all, it halves itself to 3. Halves this unit's base power. So it does affect base power, by the way. This isn't damaging it, it just halves it straight up. So this becomes a 3, and it spawns another 3. And then you play a Relict, both of them go to 4, and then you can click the second one, and then that second one will go to 2, and then you'll spawn a 2, right? That's how it works. Now, if you don't play any relics, right, the maximum that this card can play for is it halves a 3, spawns a 3. The 3 then halves itself to 1 because I think they round up, right? And that's it. So 3, 3, 3, 1. That's it. 3, 1, 1. Sorry. So that it plays as a 5 maximum. In that case, but this card is pretty good. This card is actually really nice because I can actually play. It's another card for Morntart. Where are you, Morntart? There you go. I love playing this card. You guys have seen me play, you know, I think 2 decks with this card, and I love playing this card. I think it's such a fun card to play with. And Self Eater is a fantastic card for it. It just self-replicates itself. It's a bit expensive, but if you run a bunch of relics like, Witch Apprentice, Ratcatcheress, She Who Knows, all the Crones, you have a lot of good relics to play. So you're definitely going to get value out of this card. I think it's a really good card. I think it's a solid 3.5 out of 5. I think it's a really, really nice card to play. Plus the artwork is so disturbing. My god. It reminds me of somebody. Like, I know somebody who looks like this. With that greasy hair and... Ugh. Am I correct in the maths? I'm just trying to think. If you don't play any relics, you just play this, right? The first one, you click it, it cuts itself to half, and then it spawns a 3. So you get a 3 and a 3, and then the second one cuts itself to half, rounding up, I believe, so 1. And then you spawn a 1, and that's it. The 1 will kill itself. It can't actually spawn itself. So it's a 3-1-1. So yeah, it's maximum 5, minimum 5 or 6 if you don't play any relics. But if you do play relics, obviously you'll get a 3, a 3, then those 3s go to 4, and then you get a 4, 2, 2, and you keep playing relics, right? So yeah, it's a very interesting self-replicating card. One of the more interesting ones in my opinion. I really like the design for it. Yeah, 3 out of 5, 3.5 out of 5. Great for Morntart. Decent for Swarm, I guess. Not the best for Swarm, but it's going to be good in a Relic deck. Like, it fits pretty comfortably in there. Alright, let's move on to the epic card. Mamuna. Mamuna? Mamuna? I'm going to call it Mamuna. I think that's how you say Mamuna. Epic, 2 strength, 10 provisions. Very expensive. Relict. Zeal. Order. Banish a bronze unit from your graveyard and boost self by its power, then summon a copy of it from your deck to this row. Sabbath. Play the copy instead. Finders Keepers. I'm actually not sure what the Mamuna is. I'm assuming it's based off some Polish folklore or something, but I'll have to do some research on it. Anyway, another very creepy artwork. It actually looks like a crone, doesn't it? Like an early version of Weavis, almost. Alright, so this card is thinning. This card is a form of thinning. Banish a bronze unit from your graveyard and boost self by its power. So it works really well on... what's the card called? Griffin, right? Yeah, it works well on this. If you have a Griffin on the board and you play Mamuna on it, it plays for 2 plus 9, 11 points. So, and you're thinning as well, because it summons it. But if you have Sabbath, you play the copy instead. So what's a good monster card that you'd want to play? This is just bronzes, I believe. Yeah, bronzes, yeah. So you could consume a Chimera and then play another one. That's actually pretty good. You could use it to play Wild Hunt Bruisers. Succubus, wait. Oh no, this banishes though. Never mind. It's not the best on Succubus. Yeah, I think Chimera is a pretty good target. You know, you can use it as like a deck option. If you have a Folktale in deck, you could consume that Folktale and then play another one. Obviously, you need to have Sabbath to play it. What else is there? You could use it to thin your larvas out, I guess. You could use it to thin a Barbagazi. You could use it to thin... Honestly, it doesn't seem super effective. I think it's good on Bargish as well. Gets you another consume. Oh, it's really good on Gankian. You play the first Gankian, it goes to your graveyard. You then play Mamuna, banish that, consume that Gankian in the graveyard, and then play your next Gankian. Pretty good, actually. Not bad at all. It's actually really very good in Gankian. And obviously, you can thin out your Witch Apprentices. Where are they? Where are you, Witch Apprentice? Where are you? Yeah, here you are. Yeah, not a bad card actually. It's actually it's a really good card. Honestly, it's a solid 4, I think. Maybe not 4. Maybe I think it's similar to Self Eater again. 3.5, I would say. It's cycling through your deck. Obviously, well, not cycling. You're thinning your deck, which is obviously very good. But its effect is not incredible on many things. Like, honestly, the summon effect seems a lot more, like, useful, right? Because you have Griffins. You don't want to play Griffins because you don't want to destroy your own allied unit. You just summon them, you get 9 points easy. When it comes to the play, I can see Gankian. I can see you playing out another engine like Witch Apprentice. You could do something like consume your ghoul in the graveyard and then play the next ghoul. The consume is obviously only 1 point, but you get to play another ghoul, which isn't bad as well, like I would say. It allows you to pull out maybe a remaining Endrika Larva from your deck by consuming one of them in your graveyards. Honestly, I don't think it's as amazing. Maybe I'm missing a really obvious bronze interaction. Let's just put only neutral and see what we get. Only neutral bronze. Color, bronze. Here we go. Card type, unit. Yeah, honestly, I don't see any good neutrals here. So yeah. You know, it's okay. It's maybe, I think it looks like a solid 3 out of 5. It's quite expensive for its effect. 10 provisions. It is a relic though, so relic synergy is obviously there, and it can help you get Sabbath if you consume something pretty big from your graveyard. But again, the card you want to play from your deck, I don't see many super powerful ones, apart from Griffin and Gankian. Those are the two that really, are coming to my head right now. I'd actually like to know your guys' thoughts on this. I think I'm underestimating this card quite a bit. Maybe I'm missing something very obvious. But yeah, I think this is a 3 out of 5 card. I think Self Eater is actually a much better card than this. Alright, let's move on to the final one. And that's right, the legendary card from Monsters is the Bloody Mistress / Gernichora. She's finally in the game. Before I continue, I just want to quickly check how many leaders have been brought back in the game. So Carapace used to be Eridan, I believe. So White Frost is Eridan. We have Eridan in the game. Araka's Queen is still missing. Gernichora has now been introduced. We have Detlef. Overwhelming Hunger never had a leader, right? Force of Nature, Woodland Spirit is actually a card. You do play him. We're not missing much, are we? We're missing King Henselt, I think. Demovend, those kind of cards. Scorch, I think Philavantral is still missing. Skellige, we're missing. I think we have all the Skellige ones, actually. Oh no, we're missing Swalblood himself. Swalblood. Alright, not bad. We're getting close. That's another leader card in the game. That's really good to see. And obviously, Gernichora's artwork is, in my opinion, one of my favorite ones. It looks so good. Look at this sexy beast. Look at that sexy beast. Alright, let's see what this 7 strength 10 provision card does. Bloody Mistress is a relic. Sabbath. At the end of your turn, spawn Gernichora's fruit on both sides of this unit and transform self into Gernichora. Once the effigy is on a tree, even the most virtuous of souls will find themselves inexplicably drawn towards her domain. Alright. So what's interesting about Gernichora is she looks human-ish here. So I'm not actually sure why she turned into this beast. Is this just magic hiding her true figure, or did she actually get cursed and became one? I wonder. Anyway, what is Gernichora? Gernichora is also a relic. At the end of your turn, transform self into Bloody Mistress. If you have Sabbath, At the end of your turn, boost self by 1 for each allied Gernichora's fruit instead. Okay, so this is a really strong engine. So you have Sabbath, which is 25 strength on a roll minimum. You then spawn 2 Gernichora's fruit, and then this flips into Gernichora. So it's a 9 for 10 if you have Sabbath, right? Because you get 2 Gernichora fruits. And both those fruits obviously have Thrive, so that's really powerful. And then once you click End Turn, she turns into Gernichora. But I assume that she doesn't boost herself in her turn based on this wording. At the end of your turn, she would just flip into Gernichora, right? She doesn't actually boost herself. Yeah, okay. So the next turn after that, if you continue to maintain Sabbath, she would then boost herself by 2. Because you would control 2 fruits at that time, right? So, yeah. Pretty good, actually. And if you play this with Fruits of Isgith, which is the leader ability where you spawn another Gernichora's fruit, she would actually boost herself by 3 then. If she's Gernichora, which is pretty strong as well. That's a 3-point engine. Obviously very susceptible to locks. She doesn't have Veil. She doesn't have, any protection. She's susceptible to Toll Removal, Heat Wave, Yennefer's Invocation, obviously. But it's a pretty decent card, actually. 10 provisions. And another downside is if you lose Sabbath somehow, you would lose all the boosts, because she would then transform herself back into Bloody Mistress. So if she was like 13 power, for example, she would lose all those boosts. So that's actually a downside. But a slight, positive out of that is that if you regain Sabbath, you would gain 2 more Gernichora's fruits then. So you would have 4 Gernichora's fruits instead, and then she would start buffing herself by 4 at the end of your turn. 5 if you have Fruits of Isgith. In fact, this card is actually pretty good with Idaran, actually. Because you play Idaran. So what you would do is you play Idaran, and you play this then on Sabbath. When you activate Sabbath, you would flip this to Gernichora, and then you would get 2 fruits because of this effect. And then Idaran would give you 1 more fruit. And then she would start buffing herself by 3 at the end of your turn. Even stronger is with Caranthir. You play Caranthir onto Bloody Mistress. She spawns as a 1 strength, but if you have Sabbath, she then immediately flips into Gernichora, so she becomes 7 immediately, and you get 2 fruits. So that's, how much is that play? That's 4 plus 7 plus 2. That's a 13-point play. Not bad. And then you play the second second Bloody Mistress, which then flips into Gernichora, which means you have 2 more fruits. So that's 4 fruits, which means both your Gernichoras are now buffing themselves by 4 at the end of your turn. Pretty good. It's not a bad card at all, but my question is it replacing Koschei? That's my question. Koschei is 10 provisions as well, and the biggest upside of Koschei is that it goes wide and not tall. Gernichora goes tall. But the positive about Gernichora is that you're not forced to play on an adrenaline curve, because this doesn't have adrenaline. You can just play this as early as you get Sabbath. But I think this card isn't great in the current meta, because the current meta, every deck has Toll Removal, Heat Wave, Yennefer's Invocation, Geralt. I'm seeing Geralt, Northern Realms are playing duels like Seltkirk and Anses with Inspired Zeal. There's just a lot of Toll Removal in the current meta, so I don't see Gernichora being good right now. And I think that's why Koschei is so good, right? Because if you kill the Koschei, at least you got a bunch of Endrigal Larvas that, you can get value out of in the successive turns. But with Gernichora, she doesn't have Thrive herself. She just gives you Thrive engines, right? Once you have those engines, she becomes like a beast almost, buffing by 2 at the end of your turn. 3 sometimes. 4 if you have Idaran. But yeah. I think she's a good card. I don't think she's amazing right now anyway. In the current environment of Gwent. Especially with cards like Vilgefortz as well in Mill, right? You just use Vilgefortz in this and you feel sad then. So honestly, I would give her a 3 out of 5 as well. I think she's a really cool effect, and I'm happy to see her in the game. But if there are no significant nerfs to... if there are no big changes in the next patch that at least affect Toll Removal in some way, this card is not going to be as dominant, right? Because if I'm not mistaken, the current Koschei decks, they run Heat Wave as well and Koschei. I could see some people replacing Heat Wave for Gernichora, so they actually run both Gernichora and Koschei. And so they, essentially in that deck, you're saying, you know what, I'm going to defeat my opponent in round 1 using Gernichora, and then I'm going to 2-0 them in round 2 with Koschei and my leader ability. I can see that. I can see you just go all in, like a really greedy tempo deck, where you run Gernichora in round 1, you just play her when you get Sabbath, and then round 2, you slap on Caranthir with Koschei, and you play Force of Nature, and you just 2-0 your opponent, and they can't do anything about it because Koschei is an extremely difficult card to counter. I think that is a possibility. Honestly, I would actually like to try that on day one of this new patch. So yeah, if I'm going to give my honest opinion, I think Gernichora is a very interesting effect, but in the current environment, she's not going to be very good, simply because there's way too much troll removal existing in the game right now. She's not going to replace Koschei, she's probably going to be added alongside Koschei. That's pretty much it. She does not replace Koschei, simple as that. But yeah, so there you go. That's my thoughts on the monster reveals. Not as exciting as the Skellige reveals, if I'm being honest, but definitely some really interesting options here. Some really solid support to Relic decks, especially with Self-Eater. And I think Mamuna is also pretty interesting. Like, none of these cards scream to me game-changing or really, really awesome. I'm just excited for Self-Eater because of Morntart. That's the deck I want to play. Like, for example, if you look at the Skellige card, I see Melusine, I see Offering, I see Half-Fru, I see Hermit, and I think, yes, these cards are really cool. I look at monsters and I think, okay, some interesting options. Definitely better, more exciting than the Squirtle reveals, but yeah. Just going to quickly go through them again. 3 out of 5 for Gernichora, in my opinion. Mamuna is going to be another 3 out of 5, I think. Self-Eater is a 3.5, and Bleeding Effigy is a 2.5. So yeah, there you go, guys. Those are the monster reveals. As I said again, the Syndicate reveals are probably going to happen on Monday. So expect the video to happen then. In the meantime, I'm just going to be focusing on playing some single-player games. I've been really enjoying doing Let's Plays. Just because the current meta for Gwent has kind of frustrated me. I do not want to play against Mill right now, so I'm just going to avoid it. I finished the journey myself. I've had my fun with this patch. I'm going to wait for August 3rd when, we get it. And that's very close. Tuesday is patch day, and also we're getting a new journey that day as well, which I'm expecting the character to be teased very soon. They said it's not a very prominent character, at least. It's not going to be Yennefer Triss level of popularity, but there you go. Alright guys, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Do let me know what you think about these cards. Do you disagree with me, agree with me? I'd love to know this. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Take care.